there is something beyond mindset, which is really about mental fortitude. And this is odd saying the mental fortitude, because it's rain or shine. There is no discipline. It's just mental fortitude. So doing it, whether you like to do it or not.
When you approach your day, you have to partition your brain from things that you want and things that you need, right? Partition that you still have those things that you want, right? Because without wanting something in life, what is the purpose?
There's a book on that. I haven't had a chance to read it. Somebody did recommend me a book that was...
There is a book on it. I've seen that before.
Yeah, like when you build a business, some people in building a business, they have an end result in mind, whether it's to sell the business when it gets to a certain capital.
And you can tell the quality, or you can tell that aspect of a business when they have that in mind. Like some products, when they never change. Logo never changes, which in sense it doesn't have to change, because they have a fan base to where they have accepted that product for what it is, and will always love it for what it is. And if anything changes about it, they might not buy it. But at the same time,
rebranding,
they have you can still rebrand or clean up the logo or whatever, but people have gotten to the point to where they're just satisfied with what the end goal was, where they got it, and now where it's taken them. But eventually, your like, let's say for fitness, your anabolic rate slows down by, I think, like 10% or so by the age of mid 30s, right?
I can concur. I can eat the best food every single goddamn day.
Don't quote me exactly by that number, but I recently read up on something about that, because I was curious, because I'm 32 now, right? So it was just something that I was curious about, like, am I at my peak? Am I about to start going over the hill and now down?
Oh no,
where am I at?
You got a good 15 years, bro.
And it
just when you think like you're like, man, I'm pimping. There's another layer. There's another level.
There's always another layer.
But
still, at the rate of building slows. Not to say that your body starts deteriorating, but at the rate of growth, slows.
Physicality wise.
Yes, absolutely. So at the age of 25 or 30, it's like boom, right?
To the young guys that are listening to this right now, essentially what I'm taking away from this, and I regret to say, take advantage of it while you're younger.
Absolutely.
To really get to the pinnacle or the prime of your physical physique.
Because there will be limits.
There is limits.
Once you get older.
I remember
there are going to be lifts that you have to stop doing.
The way training shifted.
Has to shift. It changes.
Is, like I talked about before, when going into calisthenics was a complete shift in dynamics.
Right. Beautiful
shift. But I also had to recognize that my physical limits on a different space was no longer the same. But I think in overall, and what you're saying is that really it's a never ending race, number one, and you got to accept that. And I think the second thing is the fuel that's driving you to do that is something that it's just innate. You need to wake up.
It has to be intrinsic.
It's inside.
Intrinsic means internal.
Don't ask for outside discipline. There's no self-help guru.
Right.
Nothing like that.
There's no fucking book out there that's gonna help you.
Yeah. Because I've had mentors, and I've thought of those things before. Like, man, if I just got this mentor and I was working with this person, I would get some. You do get some good information.
Yes.
But it's not the internal driving mechanism for you.
Yes. You know what? So just to kind of really answer your question wholeheartedly, that it is that intrinsic motivation that is really the master behind the puppet show. Because if you don't have that internal motivation, then you're not going to externally output, right? Doesn't matter who you're around. You could be around the best guys. You could be around the most supporting spouse. You know, you can have older brothers or sisters, of that matter. Great parents. But if you can't internally do it, then the output is going to be null. Just like you can't force a horse to drink the water from the well, right? That old saying. Yeah. It's the same thing, same concept. So I would say that fortitude that I have personally, it comes from inside. And now intrinsic motivation is a good thing to have, but overall, the biggest winner here, the biggest ticket, the golden ticket, Willy Wonka's gain factory, right? I just made that up right now. But the golden ticket to Willy Wonka's gain factory, and not even gains as what I mean physically, but mentally as well, right? Or success, right? Is dedication. Being dedicated and making your word count, right? Making your word count towards yourself. If you do not have,
don't get me started, bro.
If you do not have,
I have a lot of individuals in my life that do not keep their word. So,
right,
and it's sad.
We know it in the military. What's the word to have?
It's when somebody commitment.
When somebody isn't around.
I teach my kids this one. So it's integrity.
Integrity,
basically.
Integrity.
It's doing the right thing when no one's looking.
So in the Air Force, we say the first thing we say: integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. Right. Those are the three core values.
3 core values
of the Air Force. And the first thing is integrity.
Not shoot, move, communicate.
Not shoot and communicate.
Shoot, move, communicate. That was mine.
Yeah, shoot, move, communicate. But excellent. But integrity first, right? Integrity first. So it's just like, dude, if you don't have that integrity first, you're always going to fail because you're always going to be lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Telling yourself that you're doing this, but you're not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and you're definitely using social media as your muse, right? Because social media is a mirage for you to be able to lie.
Yeah.
Right? And now you're really committing to this lie. So now you're really believing this lie because everybody else believes it and they're going with what you're going with, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, people, especially thoroughbred individuals who really are looking for something to grab onto, whether if you're an influencer or a motivator, they're going to see that you're not really that guy or you're not really that girl because it's showing through your actions, right? If you don't have...
Or the results.
Yeah, or the results. You know, if you don't have proof to the pudding, you're like, I don't really trust what this guy's saying. He's just saying a lot of shit, but I don't see him actually doing anything, right? Yeah. So it's just like you have to have that integrity in yourself first, and that intrinsic motivation, those two things to be able to really put a distinctive output. You know what I mean? And and at the end of it, like I said, at the end of it, have something to be dedicated to.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anything to be dedicated to, figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, there's something that we all should be dedicated to is ourselves. Dedicated to improving yourself. Yeah. So whatever the case may be, whatever you like, whatever you enjoy, whether it's the gym, maybe it's video games, which, you know, do you, be you.
Yeah.
But if that's what you like, make something happen out of it. You know what I mean? Dedicate yourself to that, have that mental fortitude, and just do it every single day. You might suck at the beginning, but if you do it every single day with consistency, you'll get there. Just yesterday, I posted on my story, I said, man, it's crazy how 100-pound dumbbells on the bench press, flat, mind you, was the holy grail, right? Now, I'm able to do
I just thought about that right now. I'm like, is it really hard? No, you hit 140s, I think, the other day, right?
So look, that's what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
100-pound dumbbells used to be the holy grail for me on flat bench, period. Right?
Feet on the ground or knees up?
I would never do knees up.
No?
No. That's just asking me to tear something. I don't know. I personally wouldn't do that.
Muscles,
I know it would make you a lot stronger, but honestly, if I did feet up, I would just do lighter weight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go lighter and then work your way up to it.
It's just I
love doing that.
It would defeat the purpose for me to get, because you got to be grounded in order for you to, if you're focused on lifting something heavy, you got to be grounded. Yeah. I don't know. I would feel safer.
Well, you're using a lot.
I feel safer that way. I'm getting old.
Anyhow, sidetracking on that.
I'm getting old.
We're talking shit about
my body is my body is my bank account. My body's my bank account.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be safe. But and I was just like, man, it's so crazy how this 100-pound dumbbell used to be my holy grail, and now it's like almost my warm up, right? And then now I'm doing 140s incline for 2 sets of 12.
Yeah.
Man, and then you're like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then I ended it. I said, God is good, and so is consistency.
Yeah. I think because you really reminded me of something a long time ago, and I think when it really starts is, in the integrity piece is having that individual conversation with yourself.
Right.
And I think the first real healthy piece of that conversation with yourself is telling yourself that I love myself.
Right.
I love myself. I love myself so much so that I no longer want to allow myself to stay in where I'm at.
Right.
Therefore, I commit to you, of self-improvement.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
And then once you make that mental self-improvement check, then you're drawing from a different source.
Right.
I love, I'm a deep fan of archaeology. I love reading archaeology. I love listening to lectures and doing all these different things. And one of them that I love is in Marcus Aurelius and Stoicism. And he talks about that. And one of the ways he speaks of it is that, one of the measures of a man is to have a body, but not just to have a body, any body, but to know what your body's limits can be. And for you as a man to be able to test those limits. And when I talk to buddies, whether they're in recon or special forces or any sort of any of the fun stuff, right? When I ask them like why, it's never about like, oh, well, I really wanted to serve my country. That's like superficial shit. It was literally, I wanted to test my mettle. I wanted to see how far and how hard I can push myself. Every freaking time. Big, small, old, young, doesn't matter. They were driven in such a way of self-excellence. And that was one of the key factors. I'm going to have one of my buddies that's going to come in. He's a CAG and Delta guy.
What's CAG? Sorry.
CAG is...
I don't speak Army.
Yeah. So okay. So like the Delta Force guys, right?
Yeah.
So you have like special forces.
Yes.
And then they go into like Delta.
I work for special forces.
Right.
Yeah.
So they go from traditional special forces Green Beret. Then some guys get selected to go into Delta units, and then there's a CAG unit. So it's basically it's a combat arms group. Okay. So you have weapons specialists that will go in. So you have the SEALs, you have like the regular SEALs, different SEAL team type of units. Then you have like SEAL Team 6, which would be like Dev Group. So, and those guys go into hostage rescue or specific target acquisitions, things like that, right? So Army has those kind of things. But to be selected in those types of units, it's not even just getting into that unit in itself. Once you get there, there's tiers to that.
Right.
And you're like, oh, there's more layers to this game. And then you go to another one. And then based on the way you operate, then those guys will say, hey, this guy would be a good fit for us. And you get pulled into the next layer. So one of the things that I've seen over my lifetime, especially because I had very good drivers, especially in the mortgage banking business, legends, right? That when you surround yourself with those type of mentors or those type of people, it's amazing how they're willing to grab you and pull you up. They'll share with you all that knowledge, but all you had to start with was the fire. There's plenty of fuel out there to help you push that forward. Plenty of fuel. You know what I mean? So anyhow,
Fuel to the fire.
yeah, it's fuel to the fire. What I started to really understand the older I got is it was truly a choice. It's truly a choice of a mental state.
Yeah.
And are you willing to sacrifice getting everything out of the way, get all the emotions out of the way, and just go do a great time in your life where everything's going perfect? Eventually, even great times go away. So just remember, good times expire, bad times expire. And as long as you know that and you're going through bad times, just remember it will also always expire.